Hello, church. Hey, Team Grove. I am excited to share with you guys today out of Psalm 63. And as I was looking through the Psalms, I kept going past Psalm 63 because I was just like, I don't want to face emotions. I don't want to have to think about these things. I'd rather focus on God's character and something that has to do with joy. But as I returned to Psalm 63, I was reminded of the fact that for me, and I'm sure for many of us this week, there are a lot of very real human emotions that we're confronted with that many of us have probably felt or experienced over the past week and even the past 10 weeks with all the things that have been going on in most of our lives. And so as we read Psalm 63 today, I want you guys to leave with three different things that stood out to me. So number one is that God invites us to come to Him weary. In this psalm, a couple verses in, David says, "My soul thirsts for you, my flesh faints for you, as in a dry and weary land where there is no water." And then I'm also reminded that in Matthew 11:28, Jesus says, "Come to me, all who are weary, heavy laden, and I will give you rest." The second thing is that God is faithful. David, after sharing about just the state of his being, David says, "So I have looked upon you in the sanctuary, beholding your power and glory." This is a reminder of the fact that God has been faithful to David in the past, and because of that, he can come to God in his weariness and say, because of who you have proven yourself to be in the past, I can look up on you now for my need in my time of being weary. And the last thing, church, is that God desires our worship, but in that, He desires our real, heart-dependent on Him worship. I'm reminded of this in the very first verse. David says, "Oh God, you are my God." He knows God. He's familiar with God. And then in the verse 3, he says, "Because your steadfast love is better than life, my lips will praise you. So I will bless you as long as I live. In your name, I will lift up my hands." This is a response that David has, first because he recognizes his own fallenness, brokenness, faint-heartedness. Secondly, because he's reminded of God's faithfulness. And those two things together have led David to this posture of worship before God, saying, because of who I am and because of who you are, God, I can come to you in worshiping you and in seeking you for my needs. And so today, church, I hope that you guys are mindful of and maybe even take time to write out ways that God has been faithful to you in your life, especially even in this season, though, and that would return you to a posture of worship before Him.